Welcome, everybody. You are perhaps listening and watching Hot Sauce Sports. Not sauce for work. I did a Peeze. I did a mistake that Peeze always makes. He always messes the fucking intro up. And maybe it's because we're finally back in studio. Well, I'm back in studio. Peeze has been here for God knows how long. Eagle's always been here.
Way too long, may I say.
Yeah, but way too long. And slowly, the sound is getting into my headphones. The more I scream, the more it comes out, which is very weird.
I did a mistake. That's Terry for you.
What did I say?
I did a mistake.
No, I said I did a thing.
No, you said
No, you
I
said
did a
you did a
mistake.
I did a mistake?
Yep.
So I did a thing and I made a mistake.
Terry does English.
Terry.
What's this? Chetty Mike's?
No, forget that.
No? Okay.
No, forget that too.
Okay.
Always.
We got a beer?
Yeah, Hollandia. New sponsor.
New sponsor.
May I also point out, just behind the scenes, we use a green screen to make these lovely representations. And Duke, what color is your hat?
This color is a charcoal. It's a light charcoal.
I like that color.
And it's offsetting the color of my face right now because I'm not this yellow. I'm definitely not olive oil skin. That's definitely for sure.
And what about under the cap? What color is that?
It's
green. Hey, flip your cap and see that, dude.
I'm not gonna flip it because my hair looks like shit.
No,
but it is green.
Just do this. I want to see under. I want to see the brim. Yeah.
You just want to see my
I want to see.
boobs.
Yeah. I want to see the piece. I want to see your cock.
Man, I kind of miss this, honestly. It's been a long time since we've been in studio, and I just feel like the connection is so different than when we do it. Like,
Oh man,
on a computer.
100%. It's so much different. Like when I do the shows with Peeze, I mean, we've been doing this is episode 40 of season 3, but like, it's so much better, and you'll see it as we go along. And I think it's gonna do well with Eagle too, because sometimes I'm at home, and I'm talking to them, whatever, but there's a delay. Sometimes they're like looking at each other, and I can't figure out what they're doing.
Absolutely.
So I was like, fuck this shit. I think I'm gonna start coming back.
I
into
did
the
a
studio.
podcast with Steve. Sorry, I did a podcast with Peeze a while back, and he started off the podcast with vaccine talk, and I got so annoyed with him.
Yeah.
And it's not because I'm annoyed with my brother, but it's just I'm annoyed with the whole talk of it. So,
oh man,
and I felt like because we were away, that we were distant from each other. I felt like I sounded way more annoyed. And I sounded way more
You know
angry,
what? That's funny you said that because it's
know?
one of the first things I noticed. You were so irritable that episode.
I was so irritable. Yeah.
That's too funny.
And I really was trying not to be. I was calming myself and I was telling myself, it's okay. Don't worry about it. And it's not because I have an issue with any of that conversation. I'm just tired of everyone talking about it. I want to talk about sports.
It's got to the point where you go, any party you go to, any gathering you go to, automatically you're going to start talking about, did you get vaccinated? The first thing is, are you vaccinated?
Seriously.
Why do I have to identify as somebody who's vaccinated? Why are you assuming my vaccination,
Don't
bro?
fucking ask me, man.
Like, why?
Yeah.
Don't fucking.
I feel like there's going to come a point where I'm going to have to show my passport to everybody before having a conversation.
Oh, man. I went to 40 West the other day.
What's 40 West?
It's a restaurant.
It's a steakhouse.
Yeah, it's a really good
I thought it was like a club in Laval.
Uncultured swine.
I don't go to I don't go to clubs anymore. I'm not 22. First of all, I'm 35 as fuck, mature,
What
stay
would
home.
we look like if we went to a club at this age, by the way?
I go to bars and
We
stuff.
can get bottle service at like Rouge or something.
Oh, easy. Yeah. My buddy Mass will hook us up there for sure.
What?
Yeah. But yeah, Peeze is gone. He's in Atlanta, right? Atlanta?
Yep.
He's in Atlanta, and he's having a blast over there. He's gone for a couple weeks. So this week and next week is gonna be Duke and I. The original Not Sauce for Work. I know this show is now called Not Sauce for Work, but the original Not Sauce for Work was when Duke and I would get together once a month. We did it like 3 or 4 times.
Just get high and wasted and just talk for an hour.
Which reminds me, I didn't get high this time, but
No, I'm good, man. I mean, I'm clean sober. I'm clean sober.
I don't know if that's gonna make for a good show, honestly.
we can stop and take a puff of a joint.
No.
I have one in my car.
No. Listen, guys, I don't do that
I
stuff
don't have one in my
anymore.
car.
I'm a respectable citizen of this city, and I don't do those things anymore.
You don't
I'm
smoke
a
weed?
respectable man. No,
You don't smoke
I don't.
weed?
I don't do anything. I don't do anything that's bad for my body.
So yeah. Anyway, Duke Peeze is gone. We're kind of happy now. We can bring the show back to what it originally was.
There's no ties. No one's wearing a tie.
No one's dressed like they're about to give a presentation.
I mean,
If that's the case, then we're giving presentations.
this is how I dress when I go to work. 'cause I don't give a fuck.
that's you
there
because
you go. Yeah.
you just yell at people.
I
At
don't
your
know
job.
why you
It's
never
true.
put yourself on camera, by the way.
Because I don't need to.
Because
I know, but, like,
Nobody wants to look at me. They want to look at this guy.
Duke, there's a thing. What happens when he goes on camera? Women flock to him. He's like Kramer. Kramer has that thing where he just like women love him. That's Eagle, and I know this firsthand because my girlfriend. This guy could say whatever he wants to my girlfriend, and she's like, haha, Eagle, he's so funny.
For her birthday, I said, happy birthday. I hope Terry gets you something nice. If he doesn't, you can always come to me.
And she's like, and she'll literally take him up on it too. That's the worst part. That's the worst part.
That's
I don't know how
crazy,
I
man.
feel about this loyalty, but like I said, new sponsor alert, Hollandia. Never, never
Hey,
bought
I'm
it
on
before,
man.
but it's great.
I speak Dutch a little bit.
Old sponsor alert, Hot Streak Fantasy. The best. It's the best.
It really is.
It's the best.
I really haven't tried. I mean, I have tried.
Yeah.
I have tried.
Yeah.
It's pretty fun.
It's
great.
the
great
So,
fun.
best.
so let's
It's the
let's say
best.
Duke were to download the app on iOS.
Yes.
What would he have to do?
He would have to deposit money.
Yeah,
And
I'm not
with,
good at that.
With that deposit that you make, you will get that same amount matched as a bonus by using the promo code Hot Sauce. So if you use the promo code Hot Sauce as per Hot Sauce Sports, then you get double the money that you would invest into that app. Use the promo code Hot Sauce, or we don't get paid. It's great, but
And
it's
you
honestly
can
it's
bet-
honestly the best. I love
You
using
can bet
it.
on MLB games for the playoffs. You can bet on NFL games. NBA's back. You can bet on that as
so
well.
all three of them are live because we got the MLB playoffs. We got the NFL going as usual on Sundays, Thursdays, and Mondays, and then you got the NBA, which rolls almost every single night. It's the best. It's the best. I honestly tell everybody about it. Everybody I know that's on it loves it too. Quick bets in and out. Tack 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 tack. Make your money and bounce. I'm actually
What's
on a cold streak right
what's a really bad bet that you've made recently?
now. I've actually been on a nice little heater. I've been on a nice heater. I've put on one of the apps that I use. They have like these free bets where you bet up to $50, and if you lose, they give that money back to you as a bonus. But I've won those bets, like all three of them. So like I've been on a heater there. But on the Hot Streak app, a bad bet that I made was I bet that Tom Brady would get over 2.5 yards on his next rush.
Get out.
His next rush was a
Quarterback sneak.
was a 2-yard run.
No, that's not bad
Yeah,
actually.
it's not
That's
bad.
better than
Yeah,
he usually
yeah.
runs.
And I hit one by accident the other day. I hit a five guy
Parlay?
bet. It was kind of you call it a parlay. It's called they call it streak mode.
I looked up
on
all
the
these
app.
terms before coming on the show, by the way. To
Oh,
sound
yeah.
knowledgeable. I still don't understand what over
I
and
tell
under is.
I tell Duke, okay, we're gonna talk gambling. He's like, oh, I love it. I'm like, yeah, but you're not a gambling guy. He's like, no, I never gamble. But he wants to talk about gambling, which
I'd love to.
I'm very okay with.
Are those candies? Anyway,
no, it's just a bag.
you were saying.
I'm very okay with that. But I forgot what I was saying. Yeah, so I bet this 5-man parlay, and one of them was a mistake. I took Justin Herbert to rush for 2.5 yards on his next rush, but I wanted to pick a passing play for him, and he ended up rushing for like 11 yards. I ended up winning like $160.
Do you feel like
off
that
$5.
kind of ruins experience of watching a game? Because this is my biggest holdup when it comes to betting. I always feel like when I'm watching a game without having anything related to it, this is the reason why I don't look at my fantasy team when I'm watching football.
Okay.
It's because I really just enjoy watching Red Zone and just injecting that crack into my body, and not worrying about this guy rushing, this guy passing. But then again, I can also see the thrill of having some stakes in it too.
Well,
because
it's like
hard,
fantasy
it's hard to watch the
football.
Lions.
It's
sometimes.
more like,
It's
are you
instant
sure you
fantasy
took
football.
crack or is it anthrax, right? Like that's like the stress you have when you
Totally.
actually watch games that you've bet on.
It's instant fantasy football. It's the same thing. You play fantasy and you like fantasy and you're good
I
at fantasy.
don't like I'll be honest, I don't like fantasy.
The only
I-
part about
yeah.
fantasy, the part that I like the most, I don't say the only part about fantasy, I think everybody agrees with me, is the draft. As soon as the draft
fun.
is done, I can fuck off and not even give
Yeah.
a shit. Like, just, you can hire me, pay me like $10 and I'll do your draft for you. Like, that's just the funnest part for me.
And that's a deal for next year. Absolutely. I also find that fantasy football is great for when you're taking a shit and you need something to look at, and because you don't want to look at the goddamn news because it's the
Speaking of
same
which,
thing.
I didn't even check my roster today.
And you just need something to look at, and you're tired of looking at the same things on your feed. Hey, you know what? Let me go and find a new tight end.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, fuck, I forgot to pick up a kicker this week because Rodrigo Blankenship is injured again.
My whole team is on bye this week because
I
they're
got-
all Bills and Cowboys.
Yeah, fucking right, Cowboys.
He
Tell you that.
drafted poorly.
I really drafted poorly. I really did.
No, the Cowboys have the most explosive offense in the
I
league.
do have a positive record, but I have a
Boys,
lack of depth.
Cowboys are winning the fucking Super Bowl.
No, they're
Are
not.
we in this?
Relax.
Anyway, I
Put
think
your
it's
dick away, fuck.
I think it's time. We'll do it. I think it's time for. Terry, it's the news.
It's the news, man.
It is the news.
Did you just tell this news to yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm telling myself about the news. a lot of shit that's happened this week in the NBA, and by a lot of shit, I mean the saga of Ben Simmons with the Sixers seems to be fucking over finally.
It's not over. It's not going to be over.
They've suspended him because he's just acting like
Which
a
means
doofus.
nothing.
Oh, can you pull up the picture of? Did you see this? That what he had his
Tell
phone.
me what it is, and I'll tell you what I
his phone,
saw.
His phone in his pocket.
Well, absolutely. That's what I was going to say. He was wearing sweatpants.
Yeah.
He had his phone in his pocket.
It is sweatpants season.
And he gave zero shits about actually doing anything during that practice.
It is definitely sweatpants season.
Yeah.
Girls love it. Gray sweatpants season. I got my gray sweatpants on.
Yeah, man. I can see your dick from here.
Girls love it. But there's a picture of Ben. Yeah. So that apparently is not a phone. That is a jersey. That is his penny. His practice penny that he refused to wear. So that's why he was sent home.
You are right about that. I was wondering because when they originally said that his phone is sticking out of his sweatpants, I was thinking, I own sweatpants. My phone sags so low that if I
how
walk,
short are those
it
pockets?
smacks my nuts. So there was no way that, or else they're just really poorly designed sweatpants.
Yeah, how short are those fucking pockets?
So that could be definitely the practice jersey, which makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But it's not so much about the sweatpants. It's the the aura, the vibe. He's coming in. He's kind of like lackluster. Doesn't really participate in the huddle. Just kind of like whatever. But also, this is the template for wanting to get traded. I know that we crap on the guy for it right now, and we should. I don't like him. I don't like it at all.
You think he's being like guided to do this?
Yes, he's his agent is Rich Paul.
Oh, okay.
The template for this has been created by LeBron. No, not LeBron James. Sorry, but Kyrie Irving at the moment is doing something very similar, or he has done something very similar, and also James Harden as well. And I just think that the precedent has already been set for players that just don't want to stay with a team. They want to avoid being part of a toxic situation that they wouldn't want to be.
What would you do in your job if you wanted to get fired?
Well, that's the thing. I'm not in that.
Yeah, but it's you don't get fired. You get relocated, right?
So let's say Eagle. Let's say you see like a position somewhere else, but you don't want to like.
I'm unionized, by the way, so there's a lot of things I could do.
You don't want to make it like too obvious. You want to go there because you don't want to insult people. So what would you do to get there?
I'd slowly start giving other people my responsibilities until I make myself useless.
Okay, so that's basically what Ben Simmons did. Ben Simmons is like, did you see that practice? I was watching like 5 minutes of it, and he was just not even playing defense, which is the only thing he's good at.
Well, basically, but that's it though, right? Like, if I'm responsible for 10 things, if I can get 10 other people to do that stuff for me, I am not responsible for anything. And I'm like, you know what, guys? I'm going to go help another team out, right? And it's like, you guys got this. You don't need me.
Yeah.
Congratulations, right?
But it's
Shake
also-
everyone's
it's
hand. We
also
have a
a
little
fault-
party,
it's-
pop some bubbly, and then I go work for someone else.
It's a false equivalency when we try to use our jobs, which we're not drafted into, as an example of what the life is.
Yeah,
as
you're
a
basically being
professional
forced to
athlete.
live in a city you might not
So
like.
is it like more
Exactly.
comparable to like the military where you got to like kiss a guy to get expelled or whatever?
I will say though that the book was kind of
What's that called? It's called something now.
Dishonorable discharge?
No, it's called something to be homosexual in the army. There's like a
Yeah,
term for it.
normal.
No,
I feel like this is
It's
going off
fine.
the
Like
rails.
it used to be a big deal. Now who fucking cares?
no, but there's a
Like,
term to when they kicked you out.
Okay,
or
how about you think about that,
Nah, I'm not
and
gonna
I'll
think
say what
about
I'm going to say.
I've already given up
Dishonorable
on it.
discharge.
The book on Ben Simmons was kind of written at LSU. When he was at LSU, what was the main criticism about him? It was the fact that he wanted everything to be about himself. That he didn't
Don't ask, don't
perform.
tell.
He didn't perform in crucial situations, and he had a lot of issues with teammates feeling like he wasn't putting it all on the table during crucial moments, and everything had to revolve around him. And I feel like when I rewatch what happened against the Hawks, it wasn't just that he wasn't. I felt like he was shell shocked, that he was in a situation where he just felt like he couldn't really make the kind of shots that he wanted to make. He kept passing out.
Duke, he had 4 games in a row, 4 fourth quarters where he had 0 points.
But my thing is, what if it's not about a me thing? What if it's just, look, he really had a hard time in that series. He didn't really see the court properly, and he got completely shit on in Philly, which is very easy to do. Even in a good game where you lose, you still get shit on.
Well,
You know?
I mean, back to what you were telling me off air, Jason Kelsey comes out.
Jason Kelsey, yeah.
And Jason Kelsey has won a Super Bowl in Philadelphia. He's played in Philly his entire career. And he came out and said, just play better. If you play better, the city's going to love you.
Yeah.
And that's true about Philly. It's true about most towns. I think Boston's the exception.
Well, look at Montreal with the Canadiens. We're the same way.
Yeah, I mean, most fan bases that have been there for a long time that have like a diehard base like the Habs or the Eagles or whatever, or the Yankees or the fucking Red Sox, if you suck If you're playing like shit, then
Yep.
you're going to be shit on.
Absolutely.
Francisco Lindor got traded to the Mets. Okay, got traded to the Mets. All Mets fans were super happy.
Yeah.
Fucking right, Lindor.
Had a terrible season.
Terrible start, and they were ready to trade him back. And that's the part about fan bases that's crazy. But it's a reality because they pay their money, they have the right to scream, you know what I mean? They have the right to complain, do all this shit. But at the end of the day, Ben Simmons owes them nothing other than putting on the jersey. He's insulting more his teammates than his actual fan base.
He definitely is, and I do agree with that. I think that right now at this moment, I think that Ben Simmons is in a really tricky spot. I think that the 76ers are expecting a lot in return, as they should, because this dude, maybe his shooting is not great, but he's one of the best defensive players in the league.
Yeah.
And he can fit in very well with a lot of teams, for example, Portland. But Portland is not willing to give away Lillard for nothing.
That's the thing.
You know,
The thing is, Portland doesn't have a lot to give up.
So the reality of the situation is that, and I think this is what he's doing poorly at the moment, is that by underperforming right now, you're tanking your value, and you're making it really hard for Daryl Morey to make any kind of trade for you.
Oh, definitely.
And if you really want to leave the city, if you really want to get out of there, you have to perform. You have to raise the value of who you are, not just sit back in practice with your sweatpants, go to a strip club at the end of the game, and just expect to get traded.
And it's not only that.
Because guess what? Pat Riley is not going to trade for you. He was originally probably going to trade for him had he performed, had he shown the willingness to try and perform in practice and try and show some competitiveness. Because that's one thing about Pat Riley. You know, it's all about trying to rehabilitate players that might have lost a step, or players that are just in a rough patch. But one thing that Pat Riley doesn't like is players that don't have a competitive edge.
Yeah.
And that's what I think that Ben Simmons is missing at this moment. And it's unfortunate. I think he's getting really bad advice.
Yeah. I mean, he's getting bad advice from the people around him. Not only that, is that like there's rumors that like he brings his entire family to practice and
Never good.
And they're all there, and he just has like an outside distraction. He doesn't listen to the team. Like we don't know if there's a side that he wants to present that shows him in a better light, then go ahead. But right now we haven't heard any of that. And Ben Simmons, as good as he is, he's gonna end up becoming expendable. And that's what happens a lot with these guys.
Yeah.
They become expendable. You know what I mean?
I'm just thinking, I know that we want to wrap up on this point, but I'm thinking about, for example, Sacramento, right? Like Sacramento has the pieces to trade for Ben Simmons.
Would you rather live in Philadelphia or Sacramento? Like, if you're going to live in California, did you know Sacramento is the capital of California?
It is, and it shouldn't be. But also, what's the capital of Canada?
Ottawa.
Right. Would you want to live in Ottawa?
No, because the capital of each state is the one that's closest to the center of the state.
I never knew that.
Yeah.
I learn everything. I learn something every time I'm with you.
Yeah, because
But-
I just have this, like, abundant mass of useless information in my head.
But my thing is that, okay, so first of all, the Sacramento would be probably the perfect trade partner because they have pieces.
He doesn't want.
But
He
they're
wants to
not
go to a
going to trade
championship.
Fox. They're not going to trade Bagley for a guy that just doesn't give a shit, and they know that
It's too much of a risk.
And it's also a huge risk because he's going to go to Sacramento and do what?
Not
play or not care, and then they have to find another trade partner. So no, like anyway, I know we're wrapping up on this point, but
not everybody is as good as Ben Simmons, and not everybody can handle being the guy in an organization that makes you. He's gonna be the guy, right? Like now he kind of splits it with Joel Embiid, but he's gonna end up being the guy, and I don't think he can handle that. I don't think that he's able to do that. I think he wants to get in, do his job, and go home, which is very okay. But as long as you're doing your job and as long as your teammates feel like you got their back, and I don't think they do it this time. But anyway, it is what it is. The Ben Simmons saga continues. We'll see what happens with him. I think he'll be traded before the halfway through the season, and hopefully they get something in return for him. But at this point, the Sixers get what you can because the value of his is dropping every day, and I think he's going to be dropping it. Staying in the NBA, Deandre Ayton doesn't get his extension.
Right, he doesn't get his extension. The Suns, who are notoriously cheap, Robert Sarver, it has to be one of the cheapest, crappiest owners in the league, has zero intention to give this guy a max contract, even though he's proved to you, even what he did to Jokic in the playoffs shows that this guy deserves something. And
He's
just
good.
think
I don't know if he's a max extension though.
I heard this in a podcast recently. I can't remember which one, but the coach of the Warriors,
Steve Kerr.
Steve Kerr, when he's coaching the Suns once upon a time, basically he was guaranteed that if his team would perform well during the season, that they would get that they would keep the team together. What ends up happening is that they end up being the 3 seed. They have a glorious run, doesn't work out. Steve Kerr goes back to Sarver, says, "Hey, we did a great job. I think that we should keep the team together." Nope.
Fire sale.
Right. Fire sale. And then that's the reason why he's really with the Warriors at the moment. So this guy has he has no intention right now of giving Booker a max contract.
No.
He has no intention of giving DeAndre Ayton a max contract. Chris Paul.
I don't know what it is though. Like you're in the finals, you're missing a few pieces.
Yeah.
This guy helped you get to the finals. Just give him the money.
Right, and I think that
it's not like you didn't make the money.
It's this really outdated concept where it's a center doesn't exactly you shouldn't pay these guys max contracts because they're just centers. But
he's also not a true center though.
No, he's not.
Like, he plays everywhere.
He really does, and he's a really really excellent player, and he really is. He can really be one of the best in the league, and he already kind of is. And I just think that you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot in a way. Like these players, like first of all, DeAndre Ayton is going to end up getting a contract anyway with them because it's hard for these guys to move on when they have a lot of money on the table.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's the thing. But I just think it's really unfortunate that Suns they keep repeating the same mistakes over and over and over.
Whatever. I mean, at this point, it's like Suns and 4. It's like Suns and 4 is never going to happen again because
I do
you guys
think
are fucking selling everybody.
They do have all the tools to repeat again.
But you
not
can't
repeat, but at least.
But you need to keep the tools.
Right, but they will at least now. But these guys aren't going to stay around.
No, I mean, listen, Devin Booker's going to get them most money anywhere he wants. But what the NBA does well is that they max out the amount of money you can get, and every team has a chance to balance that to match that. So we'll see what happens with Ayton, but I don't think Ayton's going to stay with the Suns because he's going to get a max contract somewhere else.
He will.
Where's he from? Where's DeAndre Ayton from? Is he from California? Maybe he'll go to Sacramento. We were just talking about that.
Eeks.
Imagine him on Sacramento.
Get me DeAndre Ayton's
hometown, birthplace.
What's your guess?
I'm gonna say he's a California kid.
I'm gonna say he's East Coast.
Yeah,
but go New York.
Too broad.
I know it's too
New
broad.
York, the state of New York.
The state of New York.
He's from Syracuse.
He was born in Nassau, Bahamas.
Wow, we are awful at this.
Doesn't help us at all.
Okay,
where do you go to school?
San Diego, California.
See, California.
Okay, well then we'll just say he's a California
he's a California kid.
I just think that if I'm in that situation where I'm having an excellent season and I show that I can lock down one of the great players in the league, and then my owner tells me that, hey, nah, I'm not gonna give you a max contract. Guess what? I'm out. Yeah,
it's. I mean, at this point, if they're not giving me what I want, then it's the same thing with Eagle before we were talking about his job. If you want to leave somewhere, if they're not giving you what you want, you fucking leave. That's it. It is what it is. Somebody who got what he wanted was Nick Suzuki. Nick Suzuki, we spoke about it last week. In the meantime, there was a few other signings as well. But the Habs paying him all that money, him not doing much this year. What are we looking at now? Any points? The Habs 0-3. The media is losing.
0-4, isn't it?
0-4.
0-5. Hold on.
Buffalo, Toronto, San Jose, New York,
and there's one more. I think we're 0-4. You're right.
Yeah, we're 0-4. We're about to be 0-5, but we'll see.
Like everybody's selling. I know it's an early season, but listen, I'm not hopeful, and Alex the intern either. We spoke about this on Weekly Sauce. It doesn't look good for the team. I mean, Carey Price was there to shut the door down, but the team can't score. That was the problem last year. The team couldn't score. We had no depth on center. We have less depth at center now that we lost Dano and Kotkaniemi. Giving Suzuki the money was the right thing to do. I'm happy about that. Caulfield, obviously, he needs a spark because he's one of those guys. Mike Hoffman hasn't come back. So I'm not ready to sell the fucking house yet, but I'm not optimistic that they're going to make the playoffs. At the beginning of the season, even before all this happened, before Carey Price went out, I said they're going to be 9th place, just outside.
Can we also give them benefit of the doubt a little bit? Like your number one, your captain and your best defenseman goes down at the beginning of the year, maybe never coming back.
No, he's retiring.
Then your Hall of Fame goaltender goes down, essentially. You don't have him. And your team is still young. You missed a bunch of centers, like you mentioned. And you're just come off a fucking Stanley Cup run that went late into June, July,
season ended
right?
3 months ago.
Exactly. So these guys are probably gassed to begin with.
Yeah.
And on top of it, you're missing your best players that used to win you games. This is a bridge year, right? You're not going to have success. It's almost expected in a lot of ways.
Yeah, big time.
At what point, I know that the talk in Montreal at the moment is Bergevin. whether he's going to stay or not. I still think it's way too early in the season to make any kind of rush judgment, but I'm also a Montrealer, and I know what it's like in this city when your city starts to, when your team starts to stink.
Listen,
but my thing is when they play the Kraken into a couple of weeks, and let's say they get cracked, is that when they get rid of Bergevin, or is he stay till the end of the season?
I didn't like the Kraken name, but with all like the Krakenisms, like all the names like crackheads and getting cracked, like all that stuff, I'm sold on.
You're in just because of the word.
Especially the crackheads, like they call their fan base the crackheads. Like
sense.
It's like their hidden name.
Do they have a mascot?
If they do, it's a fucking it's a squid or something, whatever a kraken.
Yeah, it's a kraken, exactly. Yeah. Dude, to answer your question, I think it's really going to come down to how we're losing games. If their games are close or you're missing a goal or whatever it is, I think people are going to be more tolerant than if every game is like the Sharks game. Do you think that if the team doesn't give a fuck, then there's going to be heads. Do you
think that their draft pick that they made? Do you think that that's the start of it?
What the end of the Habs?
No, at the end of
like Bergevin. Logan Mailloux, you mean, and everything?
I don't think Logan Mailloux was a bad draft pick.
No, I know you don't. You've said this before, but I'm thinking in terms of how the city perceives him, how the organization perceives him. Do you think that that's perhaps the reason why the start of it, why they would get rid of Bergevin as a?
Well, I don't think they're going to get rid of Bergevin. I think Bergevin is going to take a job as like the president of hockey operations or whatever it is, you know. And then there's all these talks on Mike Madden. I don't even know where he's in Anaheim. I think he's the assistant GM over there. He's a guy from Quebec, so he will come in and become the new GM. Apparently, he's like a up and coming GM that a lot of people respect. So, and Bergevin hasn't extended his contract. His contract is done at the end of the year, so I think that means that he's going to become president of hockey operations, or he's going to go to another team. And
I never understood what that job is, by the way. I never understood what that job is when you're the president of operations.
You're basically like you oversee anything hockey related, personnel related.
So like scouting,
all of it.
Okay.
From general manager to scouts, to head scouts, I mean, no, you're mostly taking care of like the NHL. The general manager and the assistant GM take care of the minor leagues and stuff like that. But you're basically like the guy below Molson when it comes to hockey shit.
Nice.
And before he was just Molson was his boss. You know what I mean?
And he's probably very qualified for it, right? Like.
Yeah, he's played in the league. He's had decent success as a GM with the Habs. I liked his reign as a GM with the Habs, and I wouldn't want to lose him. I think he's a sharp guy. He's smart. He's charismatic. You know, he knows how to talk to people. He's respected in the league. He's not very well respected in the French media and the Montreal media here, but who do they respect? But who do they respect, right? At the end of the day, he's done a decent job. He's made a few questionable trades like that. Sergachev for Drouin, to me, is probably the worst trade in hockey history. To this day, I'll say that.
I'm still not sold on the Weber-Subban trade. And,
I am 100% sold from day one. To this day, I'm still sold.
And the disrespect shown to Markov and Plekanec was a little bit pissed me off.
Plekanec, not so much, but Markov, yes. The fact that they had the amount of money that Markov was asking for, and they refused to give him the money, that part pissed me off.
And in the explanation, like, my dogs are loyal. And
exactly. Like... Anyway, it is what it is. They've done some weird shit. They've done some good shit. A cup run last year. You know, listen. The team is good. They're young. They're fiery, and I'm pumped to see what's going on. I see what's going to happen with them going forward. Your boy John Gruden.
Yeah. So where do you want to go with this?
Well, listen. He's come out today and he said the truth will come out. So apparently. Right. There's something that we haven't seen that will exonerate him or make him seem like in a better light.
So can I start the conversation with the entire investigation started with looking at the Washington football team and the allegations against Snyder and Bruce Allen and all the other guys with the whole cheerleaders and the abuse and the whole thing. Yeah. And out of 650,000 emails that they went through, the only ones that implicated anyone was John Gruden, and it just so happened he called Goodell an idiot. Really?
Oh, he called him the F word.
Yes, that too. But I didn't want to say that. Yeah. But does anyone believe that? Do you think that's what he means by like the truth will come out? Like 100%. For sure, there's more people in this, 100%. Right? It has to be.
Bruce Allen had 650,000 emails confiscated. You think there wasn't one in there that said something bad about a player or another coach or a manager or whatever the fuck it is? Fucking teed, and John Gruden was the scapegoat in all this, all because Roger Goodell didn't like what he called him. Listen, right. And Roger Goodell's been called plenty of different names, and that's the one
Yeah,
that offended
definitely. He's one of the most hated commissioners in the world and all
him. Maybe
that.
he's hiding something.
So I'll start off by saying, because I wasn't here in the last show, it's a complete disappointment what happened. I think it's absolutely ridiculous that first of all, this report came out at the beginning of this during now mid-season and not before the season. That being said, it doesn't really matter because the point of all this is that like what came out had to be completely corrected. John Gruden, I mean, he's someone I looked up to growing up my whole life. He's someone that I always thought was a respectable person, and after what I read and what I heard about him, I mean, I have a completely different opinion about him. That being said,
Well, listen, he's a lot of the guys in the locker room like him.
yeah, but there's also
You can hate the person, but if they do a good job and they're not biased.
Well, it's like
Don't
Derek
hate the
Carr.
player, hate the
Derek
game.
Carr said, "I love the man, but I hate the sin." Right. So, in terms of this conversation, in terms of him saying that, you know, the truth will come out, it's like what Eagle was saying, that the truth will come out, but I think it has much more to do with the investigation into the emails, the investigation into the Washington, and nothing coming out from them not being responsible for anything, which I think is absolutely ludicrous.
football
However, are we that surprised that a league that hired their own investigators, as they say in Succession, a white shoe?
Wow. What a reference.
White shoe law firm has been
Season 3
hired.
started on Sunday.
Exactly.
I'm fucking
a white,
right.
A white shoe law firm
watching it tonight.
is being hired to investigate their own crimes. As if we're supposed to be surprised, like they didn't try and find the perfect scapegoat for this.
It's only that is that you nitpick on the facts,
But
right? You
that-
start picking
but
the
what-
shit. It's
but
like,
what
we'll
bothers me-
use this one, not this one.
What bothers me the most about this whole conversation is that, you know, what happens is there's a lot of Raiders fans that are hurt with all this, and there's a lot of people that are hurt with they conflate this issue of cancel culture with John Gruden. The fact is, what John Gruden said was awful, and he had to be fired.
Yeah.
He had an openly gay player in the locker room. Amy Trask, who was previously the VP of operations of the Raiders, who's a woman, who's a female who worked there, who had complained about him many times to Al Davis and to Mark
Complained
Davis.
about John Gruden?
Yes,
Oh.
and nothing ever happened. Nothing ever came about that.
I didn't know
and
this.
No report ever comes out about that. The fact that he's complaining about women, about female refs who officiate his games. The fact that he's coming out talking about how basically saying that this whole concussion protocol is ridiculous, which is insane because your players are the ones whose bodies are on the line.
They're putting all the risk out there.
So for me,
you can
know
yell
what?
all you want and make all your shitty faces.
I don't want.
but you're
I
not
don't
gonna
want to hear
fucking-
from butthurt Raiders fans anymore that shit on me for my article, number one. But secondly, I don't want to hear from you anymore because he was wrong. He had to go. It's 2021. We got to move on. And secondly, you know what? He sucked anyway. He sucked anyway.
That's the thing that a lot of people don't realize is like, he shouldn't have been fired.
What
But at
did
the end of
he
the day,
do?
was he good?
And he had
The
another,
team's
what?
good.
He had
The team is
another
good,
6
yeah.
years on his contract. He has 6 years on a contract. Didn't draft he barely drafted any good players. He signed terrible free agents this whole time.
Yeah.
Made terrible decisions when coaching. Super conservative. The 1 year that are really starting to look good, he's out. It's a disappointing end to the season. But to me, I just think it has to happen. He's saying that the truth has come out. The truth has come out. You're a bigot. You're a terrible person. And the fact that you're still staying in Las Vegas right now, you're not willing to sell your property, and you think that the reason why that this has all happened is because it's cancel culture, tells me more about your character than anything else will. So screw you, John Gruden.
So here is my question to you. If he knows what they're hiding, and let's be honest, he's never getting another job in the NFL.
No.
He's never getting another job for a broadcasting
Division
company.
3. Basically Division 3.
College, not going to happen.
best. Nah, he'll get a college job.
Coastal
Do you-
Carolina?
do you really think a college will hire him?
Yes.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Guy, it's college football. They've
Okay.
hired worse.
Because
Meyer
because
was the coach
oh yeah
there.
because the reason why they'll take him, and like I'm not saying it's like an Alabama or an LSU or a Clemson. It might be like an East Carolina, like a very mid-level to bottom, like Div 1 team, right? And the reason why they'll take him is because he's going to be able to get recruits. Regardless of what he did, he's going to get recruits.
Yeah, okay. I maybe doubt it. I have a theory as to why he hasn't said anything. Because if it was me, I would Jose Canseco the shit out of the league. Because if you know what's happening and you're never going to work in that league again, burn the whole thing down with you, right?
He's
You're gonna
holding-
take me
he's
down,
holding on
I
to
can pull
keeping his
everyone
job.
down with me. The only reason he's holding out either is because he's still negotiating his settlement, which apparently he's going to make $40 million
Oh, he will
from.
make $40 million. No, he will. No, because he absolutely will.
We're never going to see him again.
And there might be a non-disparaging act clause in there, which he can do.
It's also because a lot of what's revolving around his departure is things that happened before he became an NFL coach again. So, of course, he's. If I was in a situation, I hope I'm never in that situation, but I would absolutely fight for every nickel and dime because you're firing me for something that you didn't hire me for. It happened way before.
Yeah.
You know, so he's definitely going to make the rest of his contract the $40 million. But I don't see John Gruden coming out and doing anything about this. He does have a lot of connections, and I think there's still some gas in the tank for some the desperate college team. Probably Old Miss, always Old Miss hiring Lane Kiffin. They'll probably hire him and all that.
Did you see what happened with that? Lane Kiffin? He went back to Tennessee for the first time.
Yes.
They were throwing shit at him.
Absolutely. And he Odell Beckham a water bottle that getting thrown
really?
at him.
Yeah,
Yes.
I didn't see that one.
He's used
But
to
there
it.
was like mustard bottles being thrown at
They hate
him.
They absolutely hate him.
Oh man,
Yeah.
for good
So
reason.
here's my other theory. Besides the fact that he's
Also,
going for the settlement portion, he's then going to, after he figures out the deal, going to take as much time as it needs to expire the whole NDA portion of it.
Yeah.
And then sell a book deal.
Yeah.
Oh.
Makes
And
a
then
lot
he's
of
going to do the
sense.
expose tell all and make a shit ton of money off of that.
He absolutely will.
they-
That's why I don't think that he's gonna come out into an interview, do a 60-minute interview, and try.
He will, but when he gets his
After
money
when the
and
book-
when he's
yeah.
going to make
Well,
more money
exactly.
off of it.
We're gonna hear about this in like a year and a half, 2 years.
Exactly.
All of a
what do
sudden,
you- what do
before
you-
Monday Night Football, hour-long interview with John Gruden. Hasn't coached since. He wants to make a comeback. All this shit, like it's gonna happen. We know.
Can I just finalize this one thing, and I think it's something that you guys were missing in the last podcast. I kind of feel bad for Derek Carr, and I'm one of his worst critics. I'm not a fan of Derek Carr. I never have been, but this season there's something about his performance I love. This season I really think he's a top 5 quarterback. So hold on, but that's not my point. That's not my point. I don't want to get stuck in the mud. But
no.
I feel bad. I feel bad for a guy that has to go through so many coaching changes all the time. I feel like a great quarterback.
It's like
needs
Alex Smith.
consistency,
It's like
you know?
Alex Smith.
Like he's gone through offensive coordinator after offensive coordinator, completely changing of wide receivers, offensive line, like head coaching changes all the time as well. So that's one thing I really feel bad about, and I was really happy to see them really perform really well last year.
Alex Smith had like 11 offensive coordinators in 8 seasons or something like that.
And
yeah.
every season that Derek Carr has been in the league has been a new offensive coordinator until this season. So,
Yeah, exactly.
So anyway,
Somebody who is probably his own offensive coordinator is Aaron Rodgers, and apparently he owns part of the Chicago. He went into Chicago, took out his ball sack, put it in the end zone,
yes,
and then as he scored that, looked at the fans and said, "I still own you."
I still own you.
And nobody has disagreed with him other than Chicago fans.
Of course,
You know,
Chicago has not disagreed with him.
He's
Trubisky came out and said it.
He's something like 35-4.
No,
Get
it's
it,
not
get it.
that high, but it's something
He's
like
get
it's
it.
like 28 and 5, 27 and
the
5.
record. So you can laugh about it.
28
Yeah.
and 5. 28 and 5, something like that. That sounds more accurate. 28 and 5 against Chicago.
And
21 and 5.
21 and
and
5,
even
which
Tom-
is
22 if you count playoffs.
banana lands.
And
Banana.
even Tom Brady,
And-
who lost the Bears last season, said that he used it as like a stepping stone to say, "This is what I got to improve on my game."
Of course.
Also, the legacy precedes Rodgers because even Brett Favre was 22 and 10 against Chicago.
Right. So Green Bay in general has really owned the Bears. I
Oh,
never
it's the
realized
worst.
how.
If
how
you're a
crazy
Bears
it is,
fan and
yeah.
I'm like a pseudo Bears fan, if you're a Bears
Okay,
fan,
no, you cannot be a pseudo.
Illinois is basically just an extension of Wisconsin by this point.
yeah, exactly. All it's split. I mean, they're not even split by the Mississippi. Do you know how wide the Mississippi is? I didn't know how big it was until I was watching some golf championship, and they're playing in Wisconsin at the tip of the state, and they're on the Mississippi, and I'm like, that looks like the Atlantic Ocean. Like that's how big it is. I didn't realize it was that big. I thought it was like a thin line going across the country. Like
It goes from fucking Louisiana all the way up to Minnesota.
I knew it
It
was
cuts through the
long.
whole fucking country.
I knew it was long. I didn't think it was that wide. Like St. Lawrence River, I thought it was like as wide as the St. Lawrence River. That's what I thought.
I knew it was long. I didn't know it was that wide.
Heyo.
To put on your tombstone one
But
day.
Aaron Rodgers, honestly, probably biggest big dick energy moment of the
Absolutely,
season so
yeah.
far. Like I still own you to the fans,
And he
which
came
is
out.
great.
He came out today saying, I'm not part of this wool culture. That you don't want to get caught up in this nonsense. Where
He didn't do anything wrong. He just talked shit back to the people that talk shit to him.
I love at the press conference his answer when they were asking about it. He's like, honestly, like, you just get so pumped of adrenaline. I blacked out. I don't know what happened. And I'm
sure.
like, you know
And
exactly
you guys
what
saw that.
you
You
did.
guys saw the picture.
Aaron
right?
Rodgers is very aware of what happened.
Everybody's flipping the bird at him.
Yeah, exactly.
And who knows what kind of obscenities people throw at him in Chicago.
Oh, they probably in Chicago too. They probably
But
say the
can we
worst
talk
shit.
about how bad Matt Nagy is?
He's
What
pretty
a
bad.
Ever since the double doink, he hasn't been the same.
No, definitely not.
The double doink was like his claim to fame. Almost it's like they just missed by a field goal, and then the next season he's just like,
And you know what?
I forgot how to coach completely. And
Let's
been
call
known to-
screens every play.
Yeah, exactly. He's been
Oh,
known to be like this
so many-
fucking offensive genius, and
So
can't
many
figure it out.
screens and passes behind the line of scrimmage.
He doesn't
I don't
trust Justin
understand.
Fields to go deep.
Can we move on from passes behind the line of scrimmage? It doesn't work.
He doesn't trust
It's a
Justin
gimmick
Fields
play.
at all.
But
at all.
also, Fields is the reason why they were even in that last game.
So Fields is actually pretty good, and I like what I see so far. But a few names that he's gonna have to live up to, because I think we're in the new quarterback era for real. Like we remember the days of it was Peyton
Pocket
Manning,
quarterbacks?
Eli, Tony, Aaron Rodgers.
But
at the
Justin
beginning.
Justin Herbert's a pocket quarterback.
No, I'm not talking about that kind. I'm not talking about like the specific
You're talking
style.
about pylons in the middle. Of the
No,
night.
I'm talking about names.
Your
in
top
the,
5, top 10 list,
yeah,
right?
they're talking about the
Right.
level of QB. We haven't had a level of QB like we have right now across the board. Kyler, Dak, Lamar, Mahomes, Herbert. I even forgot to put him on the name. Joe Burrow, Trevor Lawrence. Like I don't think we've seen.
Mayfield, arguably, too, is up
Yeah,
there.
I like Baker
Whoa,
Mayfield.
relax. You
I
guys
know
brought
he's
up-
fucking good.
You
Baker
guys
Mayfield.
brought okay. No, I don't agree.
Look
but
what
it's
he's
okay.
had so far. They've been injured all
But
fucking
it's,
year.
it's okay.
He put up 40 points.
I don't want to argue about,
Wilson.
about the Cleveland Browns. It's the worst.
Russell Wilson. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we're in like a new era of quarter. Russell Wilson's a little bit on the older side than the rest of these guys. But
It's
we're in a
young.
new
There's a
era
lot
of
of good
quarter-
talent,
and
yeah.
I love it. I love
Sam
watching.
Darnold?
I like Sam. I've always liked Sam Darnold.
But you guys
I've always liked
do
Sam
you guys
Darnold.
remember what he used to be like back in the day when we were watching, like maybe like 10 years ago, and it was like there were like 3-4 great quarterbacks in the league, and the rest were garbage.
And
You
now
had
we
to
have like
deal with-
10 really good ones.
Yeah,
Oh,
to
we forgot
deal
about
with Rick
Tannehill,
Meyer
by
as
the way.
quarterback.
Well, Tannehill's not going to make
He's
like
better.
any top 10 list, but he's
Hey,
up
he's
there.
got Derrick Henry. That's all he needs.
He plays in a system that's perfectly catered to him because he doesn't have to throw the ball more than 30 times a game. Like he doesn't have to do any of that. You know, like Derrick Henry's gonna get him first downs all the time. But yeah, it's fun, man. Especially Kyler Murray. Looking at him. Man,
Oh, we
he's-
forgot about Josh Allen.
Yeah, I forgot about fucking Josh Allen, man.
Technically, we forgot Matt Stafford, but he's the old crew again.
Yeah,
Still.
exactly. He's part of that old guard.
No, but I know what you're getting at. It's the fact that there's a lot of really good quarterbacks, a lot of really fun quarterbacks to watch.
all under the age of 25.
And yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
absolutely, and it's really interesting. And even the younger quarterbacks, like even Trevor Lawrence, like I do feel bad for him because first of all, I hate the coaching that he's dealing with right now. I don't feel like Urban Meyer makes good,
And he still looks
sound
good.
Yeah,
And he still looks good.
and he does look pretty good. I just think he needs the right situation to make it work. It just he's stuck in Jacksonville at the moment.
Mac Jones. Like, you know what I mean? Like, these guys are fucking... Zach Wilson. These guys are good. They're
And
good
look, even
fucking
Tua.
quarterbacks.
I don't think Zach Wilson's
I
any
think
good.
Zach Wilson's going to... I think he's going to pan out. We're going to see... That's a fucking sick game this week. The Jets at New England. That's going to be a good game this
Oh, I
week.
think you're very wrong about
No,
this.
I think that's going to be a very... I'm not saying that they're going to
I'm
win.
not even sold on Mac Jones. I don't see it.
I'm sold on Mac Jones. What I saw with the Cowboys, I'm sold on Mac. Against the Cowboys last week, I'm sold on Mac Jones. I think he's really good.
Hey man, it is what it is. This is what's beautiful at the NFL. We can talk about these young quarterbacks.
I'm sold.
you know?
I'm sold to him like being a good franchise quarterback. I'm not saying he's going to win MVPs and maybe a Super Bowl and whatever because it all depends on Belichick too. But I like Mac Jones and what I see. I think he's a smart kid. He calms it down. He makes the right reads. He reads defenses really well. I'm a big fan of Mac Jones. I think he's a very capable
I
quarterback.
feel like you're a fan of a lot of people.
I am. I don't really hate too much, but if I don't like you and I think you suck
What's
at
a
your job,
quarterback you hate?
a quarterback that I've hated,
Just now, like now.
that I hate currently,
You,
that I hate
you
to
sound
watch,
like you love everybody. in the
that I hate to watch.
I really
I
don't
love
like
watching
Daniel Jones.
Who?
Daniel Jones.
Teddy Bridgewater's awful to watch. By the way,
He's ugly to watch, but he's actually pretty good. I like him.
Teddy.
I like
3 yards
watching
to pass.
Jameis Winston to see if he's going to be surgery Winston or surgical Winston.
Yeah.
So the thing is I don't hate anybody in the league because
Yeah.
I appreciate the product that they give me. But there are guys that I think are fucking complete dog shit.
Who?
Jameis Winston.
Okay, who else?
Jared Goff looks fucking terrible.
Oh, Jared Goff.
Jared Goff looks awful, but look who he plays with. He plays in a team that like.
But I mean, he
What are
makes
they
some
doing?
bad decisions, right? Like, I mean, I find myself scratching my head when I watch him play. Sometimes it's crazy.
I'm trying to think of the rest of the league.
Jared Goff was Sean McVay's surrogate. That's what it was.
Yeah, pretty much.
That was the Rams' offense.
Oh, Carson Wentz. I like Carson Wentz, but I don't think he's that good anymore.
No.
He just
So,
when
yeah.
he gets hit, man, he gets hit hard.
Yeah.
Like Carson Wentz does not take light shots. He takes hard ass shots from a defensive lineman in the ribs every single time, and he looks like he's flying 5 yards away from when he gets hit. Like, he's not built for it. And I love Carson Wentz in Philly in a way, but nah, it didn't work out. Are we gonna just keep shooting the shit over quarterbacks?
Last thing on the topic, since we're talking
Yeah.
about Chicago, you mentioned like Matt Nagy doesn't trust Justin Fields with the ball, but they're
Deep.
losing. They're losing games, right? So
trust him.
Just fucking let him do it.
Try
let
it.
him do it. Let him learn. Let him fail.
He has the
Worst
shortest
case,
leash.
you're gonna lose, but you're already fucking losing. Your game plan doesn't work.
Because Matt Nagy has a short leash.
He does.
100%.
Yes.
So the thing is, if Matt Nagy just goes to the front office and says, "I'm gonna let it open with Justin Fields. I'm gonna open the shit up.
But this is what
give
bothers
me a full season under it with him, and then we'll see. We'll take
This
it
is
from
what
there."
bothers me about this idea of a short leash, right? You look at Steely, San Diego, right? He's got a short leash. You might think that he doesn't because he's doing well, but if he started the season bad, he would be on the hot seat
Why?
as well.
It's his first season.
No, but the NFL one season is enough now.
No, I get it, but like he hasn't. Why'd you nitpick on him?
My point with him is that with Staley, it's like he will go for it all the time. It's
Yeah.
balls out all the time. He trusts his quarterback. Like when they were playing the Raiders, a couple
He's
of
also
weeks
like a
back,
player's
it
coach.
was like they went for fourth down 7 times in a row. They didn't care. They're like, you know what? I trust my team. Good team. Let's do it. Like
Yeah.
I feel like with Matt Nagy, it's the most conservative approach to football every single time. And like you're saying, he's never been the same since the double doink.
Double
But
doink.
like he's
Double
been
doink
super
really fucked him
conservative
over.
ever since.
Yeah.
You'd figure that he would try and like maximize having a young, exciting quarterback like Fields, but it hasn't been the case.
It's not the case, and that's the thing with Chicago is like, it's like the city is so loyal and they're so patient. Like they watched the Cubs suck for years. You know, nobody fucking bailed. They're a loyal. Did you see what happened with White Sox Dave? You ever see this story?
No.
And John Cusack. So
Yeah,
White
I saw
Sox.
it, yeah.
So White Sox Dave is like this diehard White Sox fan. He works at Barstool, Chicago Barstool, and he walked up to John Cusack because John Cusack was at
He
the
was
White
repping a
White Sox game.
Sox
But when the Cubs won the World Series, this guy went to the Cubs game and he took out and he was wearing his Cubs jersey.
it's a shit move though.
Yeah,
man.
and then
You
White
know
Sox
what I mean?
says to him, he's like, "Listen, you can't like you got. That's the part about being a fan is that you can't root for both teams. You got to hate your team for a while.
You can't rep the South Side.
Yeah, like I fucking
Just like that.
I suffered during fucking Quincy Carter and
Yeah.
fucking Dave Campo years with
Yes.
the Cowboys. I didn't jump ship to the Bears.
Well, also, are you gonna just wear a Yankees cap?
I mean, no Expos and Mets. That's it. I would
But
never
no, but
wear
I'm
another
saying
hat.
is like
Yeah.
as like imagine because in a way when you're repping the Mets, you're repping Mets fans.
Yeah.
Right? So imagine being a Mets fan and just showing up with a Yankees game with a Yankees cap. Your friend's gonna make fun of you.
Yeah, 100%. Like, why would you even do that? My girlfriend's not allowed wearing Yankees hats.
And so I get it. John Cusack played basically a Cub, right? In one of his movies. I can't remember the movie. I'm not a huge.
He played the guy from the White Sox. He played in the Black Sox.
Oh yeah, that's
yeah.
it.
I forgot the name of the player that he plays, but he plays in that game.
Peeze is gonna make fun of us for not knowing the reference. So if Peeze, when you're listening
Make
to
fun
this,
of you. I knew the fucking reference.
yeah, right. You were stumbling.
Yeah.
You wrap it up. Okay, we're gonna.
So that's it. But we'll do some predictions.
Yeah, let's do quick ones.
So what part of gambling terms don't you understand?
I really don't understand anything about gambling. It's not my.
So
it's-
if I say-
I have a lot of vices, but gambling is not one.
Okay,
I'm
so-
actually kind of with Duke. I don't gamble a lot
So
either.
like the plus minus, I was trying to read it all day, and I'm getting more confused the more I
The
read it.
minuses?
'Cause
You don't know how to read plus minus?
that's the thing. It's so simple.
Okay, so if I tell you Atlanta minus 2.5 at Miami, what does that tell you?
It means that they have to have less than those points.
No.
No.
Have
Okay,
more.
so it's really, really, really simple. Whatever team is
Duke does math.
listed, right? And then whatever the plus or minus is, you add or subtract that number to the score of that
Equal.
team.
You're
and
so bad at making me understand things.
No,
Okay,
no, wait,
so
follow, just listen. You have a team. You're going to have a plus or a minus next to it. So Atlanta minus 2.5, right?
Yeah.
That means whatever Atlanta scores in that game, take away 2.5 points from the score. And then you pick
You lost them.
who's going to win or not,
lost
Atlanta
them.
or Miami.
This is what I'm going to tell you right now.
Yeah.
Whatever that number is, minus or plus, that's what the score they start with.
Right. Cool. Let's
that
do it.
team. So Atlanta starts with a minus 2.5 points at Miami. Will they win by?
I'm so fucking bad with numbers.
Will
Okay,
they
okay.
win by
Here,
3
here.
points?
Like my mind just goes white.
Okay, let's say the game finishes 21-18 Atlanta.
Yeah.
Okay. Atlanta, according to the bet,
See, wait, 21 to okay.
18 is 2 points.
Yeah, 2 points. I see
to
how
3
much
points,
I
3
went
points, 3 points, 3 points. 21-18.
Oh,
It's
21-18. I thought you said
Okay.
28.
All right.
So Atlanta wins by 3 points, but the odds are -2.5. So what you do is you take 21 and you
God.
remove 2.5 points. So they only scored
18.5.
points.
So they covered.
So Atlanta still wins.
You win that bet.
He's so bad at explaining things.
How much better do you want me to fucking explain this?
You
It's
start-
not hard.
So Atlanta's starting the game with -2.5 points.
Yeah.
If they win 21-18, they covered their 2.5
Cool,
point
man.
bet.
You know
That's
what?
it.
Let's just do it. I'm gonna get lucky today.
Okay, fine. So Atlanta -2.5 in Miami. Will they win by 3 points or more?
The Miami?
No, Atlanta.
Will it? Yes.
Atlanta's going to win by 3
Yeah,
points
yes,
or more
absolutely, 100%.
in Miami.
In Miami, yeah, because
You're
Miami doesn't have a home crowd, so whatever.
But, huh?
Miami does not have
It doesn't
a home
matter.
crowd.
Still, home
Yeah.
has a factor. But you know what? I think Miami's going to win that game at home.
Cool.
So I'm taking Miami plus 2.5 on that bet.
Nice.
So which means that they're going to start the game with 2.5 points. You know what I'm saying?
I got it, man.
I think you're way lost.
I'm so lost, but I love it. Let's do it.
Philly at Raiders. Raiders are favorite -3.5.
Oh,
So
this is totally a trap game for the Raiders. Philly's gonna win this one.
So you think Philly wins, but do they win by more than 4 points?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I think it's
Okay.
gonna definitely be 7 to 10 points.
So you would take Philly plus 3.5 at that point because you think they're gonna win.
Yeah,
Okay.
I like this segment. It's like teach Duke how to gamble.
It's either they win or they lose by less than 3.5 points.
no, they're gonna win by like more than 3 points for sure.
Either way, if they win, you cover that bet because they're plus
Nice.
3.5, so they're already winning the game. So the only way you can lose that bet is if the Raiders lose by 3.5 points.
So you're saying
by
is I
4
can't
points.
lose?
Huh?
You're saying I can't lose?
I'm saying you're gonna lose that bet because the Raiders are gonna smoke the Eagles.
Can we
Eagles
never
are
do
go-
this segment ever
Eagles
again?
Eagles are god awful. Last game, Houston at Arizona. Arizona's -17.5 favorite. So they're starting the game with a 17.5 point deficit.
Yeah.
Will they win?
Yes, definitely. No, Houston is trash.
That bad, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. In my Survivor, I'm just going up against Houston every single week.
17.5 is a lot.
No,
though.
but that's not Survivor. But like 17.5 is a lot of points. But I'm still gonna take it. I'm looking at like a 41-10 game.
I mean, what was the 40-0 name? It was the Bills, right? They beat Houston 40-0.
Yeah.
But also, who's the quarterback of the Texans? It's that guy Mills.
Mills. Yeah, they got that
Trash.
fucking long ass.
Pure
neck.
trash.
17.5 though. That's
It's a heavy favorite. Yeah.
So you're up
because like the worst part is if you're up by
biggest
like
favorite of the year so
if you're up
far.
by 3 scores, you start running the ball, and then it's like you're just killing clock. And worst case, they come back and score because you're playing like a very simple defense. You don't really give a shit anymore, and then it's hard to cover 18 points at that point, right? Because like nobody cares. The
Yeah.
game's over in the second quarter. So
That's it exactly.
ooh, that's the tough one.
That's
Yeah.
a tough one, man.
I'm taking Arizona on that -17.5 for sure.
I'm taking it
I'll
too.
take it. So that was it, boys. That was
Oh,
it, man.
nice.
Not sauce for work. Episode
240.
240. Season 2, episode 40. So 240. I'm Terry Tam. As usual, this episode is brought to you by.
Hollandia.
Apparently, it's brought to you by Hollandia,
Hollandia Premium Cheap Deppener Beer.
but it is also brought to you by Hot Streak Fantasy. I'll show you right now. Hot Streak Fantasy. Go there, use hot sauce promo code. As soon as you deposit, any deposit you make, they match your deposit with a bonus, so you can gamble double the amount of time with the same amount of money. Go on Hot Streak on iOS. Use the promo code Hot Sauce. Support them. It's one of the best apps by far, and it's great. And they support us too. So go do that. As usual, Eagle. Appreciate you, buddy.
And we get last word from Peeze.
You've been listening to Hot Sauce Sports.